Warning: the following episode of That Mental Ginger Show contains strong language and adult themes.
Alright, troops.
Hello and welcome to That Mental Ginger Show with your host Andrew Durning, aka The Mental Ginger. Well, my 7 faithful followers, we have a very interesting guest on today, a mental health comedian. Well, I'll be asking her lots of questions about that. It's Kendra Crump. Kendra, how are you, my dear?
Yes, it is I. Everything is everything. How you feeling today?
Yeah, I'm surviving just about. Well, just barely, as we do in this modern day world that we're in. So
That's true.
yeah, very true. Well, as long as I wake up and I go, I'm still here. Usually that's a plus.
That's it. You
Yeah.
here, and if you in your right mind, that's a double plus.
In the right mind, well, I'll take that as a half. So 1.5 plus points. So what I like to do with all my guests, Kendra, is to get them to tell us their origin story to start with, because there's one thing we've all got in common, it's an origins. So Kendra, for my 7 faithful followers, please tell us your origin story.
Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm out here in the US of A, y'all. So my accent seems different. It's the reason why. Okay.
Not at all. I've had people from the Philippines. I've had people from US, Europe, Sweden. What? Hell, even if they can understand my accent from Scotland, I think you're okay.
Good. See, there it is. There it is. I feel like the weather's nicer over there than it is right here. It's cold.
Yeah. Oh, it's cold here. Don't worry. I think.
Oh, we're in the same temperature zone. Then that's beautiful. But born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, came from a 2-parent household. We're really half a 2-parent household. When my parents divorced, my dad was a weekend parent, and so he took all the money with him, and it just pretty much left me, my mom, and my brother to kind of fend for ourselves. Like, we started off at riches, and I'm at rags right now. Still, man. That's why I'm doing all these podcasts to try to get my name out there so I can get out of the Section 8 neighborhoods. It's horrible. So listen, if you hear some gunshots in the background, don't mind that. I'm okay. I'm inside the house. They're just having fun. Back to the story. So
I love how common it is for like guns in America. I still can't get over it. It's just like, just hold on. What? Right? That was a gunshot. Anyway, continue.
Yeah, you know what? And that's the thing, right? It's like once when it first happens, you're like, oh my gosh, oh wow, what's going on? But when it happens again, you like, okay, well, this is normal type of stuff,
Yeah.
But
to this day, I have never actually heard a gun in real life. I've only ever seen it like on TV or like, one of those like kiddie fairgrounds. But I'm pretty sure that if I ever had a gun and tried to fire it, my shoulder would just like dislocate. Like Stewie in Family Guy when he has the gun and just goes flying back. That would be
what you know about that Stewie from Family Guy. That's before your time. You don't know nothing about that Stewie from Family Guy.
I'm 34. What? So yeah, well, trust me, I know Stewie. Stewie should technically be just a little bit younger than me.
Okay, all right then. But no, I mean, I think here's the thing. Like America, I take it over in you say you're in Scotland, so I take it over in Scotland. The gun laws and control it's more under control than it is over here. Correct?
Yeah, basically, we don't have any guns.
So here's my question: what happens if somebody breaks into your house?
Well, so far that hasn't happened. Touch wood. Well,
knock on. Well, I mean, anybody's house. What happens if somebody breaks into anybody's house?
Normally, any tool can be used as a weapon. Like, we got screwdrivers, we got knives. We'll just use a tool and just wrap it around them and just break their necks.
So you know what, and that's something I think over here in the States they need to do that. Like I think they need to implement that. There's other, and you're right, there are other things that you can do. And then on top of that, one thing I like about other countries is that, I mean, there's always pros and cons to everything, but I really like the fact that you guys have other ways of going about like your living existence. Here in America, anybody can get a gun. It's accessible. You have to have a gun license because people fear for their life. They're like, okay, if you break into my house, we're going to shoot you. If you try to rob me, I'm going to shoot you. If you follow me home, I'm shooting you, that type of stuff. Because I guess over here, a lot of things have happened that shouldn't be happening. And it just has become out of control. Like you guys make sure that when it comes to If somebody steals, I'm sure when someone steals, they get fingers chopped off.
That's pretty much one of the things. One of the advantages of not having guns is that we have to be very creative with how we, cause grievous bodily harm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and it can be quite interesting. And one of the advantages of being Scottish is that everybody thinks that we're all, mental hard cases, when really most of us are. There's maybe about 80%. But I remember, I've told this story a couple of times, that me and my brother were in Las Vegas, and we were in taxi, going down the strip, and the taxi driver asked us where we were from. We said, Scotland. And he's like, oh man, I've heard about Scotland. Glasgow's really, really violent, isn't it? Lots of fights and knives and everything. And this guy was a very, very heavy set, very muscular guy, and we're like, too right, mate. Right. You want to see some of the fights we got into? Alright. And when we're like, just get the hell out of this taxi cab as quick as we can and run like hell, just in case we die.
That's true. That's definitely it right there. And I think with me growing up with my two living in a single parent household, and during middle school, I hated middle school. The ages of 12 to 14 are rough or 11 to 14 typically. It's rough. Kids are mean. I'm having to deal with bullying for the first time, sexual harassment, dealing with trying to fit in. And this wasn't prepared. I wasn't talking about this at home. Like nobody prepared me for this at all, and so it was one of those, like, I had to learn over time to stop being people pleaser, stop trying to want everybody to be your friend, stop trying to do all of that type of stuff, and with all that else being said, I pretty much had got to high school, and now it's like it's better because you have a little bit more maturity, a little bit better, but you're still dealing with that, the cliques and people not liking you and the rumors. And now you got to figure out, okay, once I graduate high school, am I going to college, the army, or am I just going to work? It's like now you have to deal with that. And that to me will put a mental make your mental health, get worse, because you're like, okay, now I'm 18. What do I do now? You're like, you really don't know exactly what to do in that sense. Now you have to make a decision that will either you have to make the right decision that can impact you for the rest of your life, right? Yeah. So with all that being said, I was told to go to college. I remember I was in college the first semester, and I said to my parents, I don't want to be in college anymore. They're like, no, you need to be in college. You need to go to school. And I'm like, for what reason? What am I going to school for? Like, I'm not happy here. They told me I need to go to school. So I went to school, but I just wasn't doing good. I was more focused on trying to be popular. I started having guys like me, and I'm like, oh, this is great. Like, I like my community college. When I went to my university, I pretty much had, I didn't like my university. I was dealing with more immaturity with kids, like just how rude and mean a lot of those kids were, the bullying, the cliques. I'm like, bro, this is just like high school. But I had to remember, people were just graduating from high school. Their mentality is not all the way there. So I actually, had to check myself into the mental hospital because I was suppressed for loneliness. Like, I literally felt like no point of me living on this earth if I'm not going to have that type of relationship that I was, hoping to have. I'm like 21 years old. Why don't I have anybody type of stuff, but I had to learn that you want somebody that's complete. You don't want to be with anybody who's just full of crap. You want someone who has gotten help, mental help. So that's my origin. That's my story. And I'm like, let me do comedy. Comedy just came along the way, and making people laugh is a great feeling.
Yeah. And it's something I can definitely see in you. You've got that razor sharp wit about you, even in this first 6.5 minutes, you've been back and forth with me, and I'm just loving, as we say, your patter, which is just basically the way you speak and how you communicate. It's just so It's just so funny, and what brilliant. So you've been saying you've been on quite a few podcasts. So how have you been getting the word out? What podcasts you been on?
I have, since I started jumping on people's podcasts October 2020. And since then I have been on at least 800 or probably about 800 podcasts at this point.
Wow.
I have just been on it because I look at it like this, right? Whatever your dream is, whatever you feel that God has gifted you with, I feel that you need to go after. You need to let people know, hear your voice. You need to let people know who you are and everything else like that. And so with that being said, for me per se, I just pretty much said, let me just go out after the people. And that's how I came across you on a Facebook podcast page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I'm really glad you did. Man, compared to like yourself being around the podcast world, I'm still trying to find my feet, really. But thanks.
You're doing good. You're doing good. You got some listeners out there who are also, you got more listeners. After this episode drops, you're going to have 30 more listeners. So how about that?
I'm okay with that. I've said to the followers, if I can get past 10, I'll stop saying it. So I'm looking forward to that.
Hey, it's okay. When did you start your podcast? When did you birth the podcast?
Technically, it was during lockdown, so April 2020. But it was really just me talking a load of rubbish and just airing things out. I never really had a idea of what it was, so I did kind of a year-long pilot. Interviewing people, just mainly friends and doing top 10s and stuff.
Well,
like that.
Listen, that's fine, man. That's cool. You're doing good. Hey, slow progress is still progress. Mm-hmm. So you're doing good.
Yeah, and then I took a wee break and just to try to think about, what things did I like to talk about? What could I talk about and that I knew about? And I know about the arts because I've been in it for since I was 6 years old. I'm 34 now, so I know that stuff. And not to blow smoke up my own ass, but I know that I'm good at it, and I know that I'm good at giving advice and help people along the way. And then because of my experiences with mental health and having psychotic breakdowns, anxiety, depression, manic depression, all that kind of stuff, I know that, and I know how, and I want to raise awareness of it, and I want to keep people kind of keep beating that drum and going mental health is just the same as physical health. It's always going to be there. It's not going to go away. And if you can't get your shit together up here, there's no way you can get your shit together anywhere else.
That's true.
And that's what you've got. That's what you got to do. One thing that I never got done, but I was very close to doing, was getting admitted to a mental health hospital. But you did say that you had that yourself. What was that experience like for you?
Well, I liked it because I ate 3 times a day, more than what I eat at the house.
But was the food good though?
Yeah, it was good. I was like, bro, I like this place. I'm about to show back up, but you have to pay for that. I'm like, bro, why are we having to pay for this? Come on, this is what drives people to the crazy, to the crazy house or whatever, because we can't afford nothing. Makes us go insane.
Yeah.
But being there, you're dealing with people who are just like you, who have had issues, and they have their life happens for them. Mm-hmm. Life happens for them. So it's not something where they put you in a straitjacket. I think there's different types of levels of mental institutions. Mm-hmm. But I went to the low level type of one, and you just sit there and you just hang out amongst people, and it's great. Being around other therapists, being around just like-minded folks, it's like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah, no, definitely. It also helps with that kind of sense of loneliness, that you don't feel like you're the only one that's struggling. Mm-hmm. But, because everybody talks about oh, I broke my leg, or oh, I broke my arm, or whatever, but no one ever comes out and says, I've got depression. It's starting to happen more now, but it's still nowhere near enough.
I think because people don't care. That's what I learned. People will care until it doesn't feel cool to care no more. People don't. That's why I said, man, folks really, if you honestly think about it, people are going to be there for you until it's not convenient for them. And I mean that. What I learned after I left the hospital, I had people check up on me for a couple of days, and then they went back to their own reality. And I had someone bring it to my attention that's exhausting, checking up on people all the time. And I'm like, you say that now until something happens to them, and you're like, oh my, now here's my favorite part. Soon as somebody dies, I don't know if they do this over and where you're at in your country or so. But over here in the US of A, I noticed that when somebody dies, they post on Facebook or they'll post in their comments, please wake up, answer the phone. Answer the phone. Don't leave me. Why'd you leave me, man? I had a conversation with you yesterday. I didn't know what was going on. They probably told you, but you just laughed it off. Oh man, please, man, don't.
Yeah, I know the feeling. It's definitely a whole kind of thing of the thing we had over here was you know, in a world where you can be anything, be kind, and it was like, right, well, you've just knocked us all out of lockdown, so what the heck's just happened here? We get all that stuff, about that whole be kind kind of crap, and then I obviously noticed that when we went into lockdown, it just seemed to be like, everybody's gonna die. We got to focus on the physical health part of it. And then now that we're coming out of that, it's finally realizing we've got a lot of mental trauma to deal with it. I mean, how did you find it yourself after being in lockdown? And how did you find it more of a mental struggle or a physical struggle trying to deal with all the stuff with COVID?
Well, of course, with the very first time when it happened, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are we going to do now type of thing?
Yeah.
Or how am I going to get my money? But, when Trump was in office, my money came on time and it was a lump sum. So I didn't have a problem with that. Once the money came, I was good. I had no issues. I had no worries. I was lovely. That was it. I was fine. So of course, like everybody else, but I used that time to go after my dreams and start growing my following. And that's pretty much what I've been doing. I've just been growing my following.
I've noticed how massive your following is. Because I do my research / Facebook stalking. That's just more of a acceptable way of saying it. But yeah, you've got such a great following, and obviously you're getting loads of attention with the podcasts and things like that. Have you had any live gigs yet since the restrictions have started to ease?
Did you say, have I had what type of, say that one more time?
Live performances, been on a stage yet?
Oh yeah, I do comedy Wednesday nights in Atlanta. So if anybody who is listening, all the listeners out there, all 7 of you all, if you guys are ever in the US of A, you come to Georgia, let me know. If you're in the city of Atlanta, let me know. And then you can come to my live performance. It's at nighttime, which I don't know why they don't have a daytime type of, comedy thing, but hey, it is what it is.
Well, in fairness, I think most people are usually depressed during the day because they're at work and we're like, oh my God, I need the release. I would kill for a stand-up comedy gig at my lunch break.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I would think, but everybody is not the highest grade of weed in the dispensary. They're not. Oh, man. And it goes to show. It goes to show, Andrew. It goes to show.
In fairness, I'm envious. You guys can get to smoke weed over there. Over here, if we get caught, we go straight to jail.
Well, we can't. Some states are legal and some states are not. That's the thing. I'm sure your weed is pretty good out there.
Well, not that I would know myself. I mean, I've seen shatterproof rollers that are straighter than me, but I've heard from some of my high quality contacts that it's good shit.
Good. That's good. Have you out there coughing? Have you staring up in the space and everything like that?
Yeah, just wondering what color a Smurf turns when you choke it, all that kind
exactly.
of stuff.
I miss the good old days when weed used to make me laugh, and now this new weed, I don't know what happened to it, but this new weed be having me stuck in my thoughts thinking about messed up stuff, and I'm like, bro, this is bull crap. What type of weed is this? I miss the good old days where they the plugs, man. Whatever happened to the plugs out there that actually will give you a discount for shopping with them after so many times? They don't be doing that no more. I don't think at all they don't do that. They be trying to holler at me. And I'm like, bro, how you gonna holler at me? Making me pay full price. It don't work like that. Bad business, brother.
Yep. We got to think about economizing. You got to make that a dollar, as they say. So
it's ridiculous.
So I've got to ask, you say your comedy mainly focuses on a lot of mental health stuff. Why did you choose to go down that route? Well, because a lot of people just try and do the whole stereotypical, doesn't this annoy you? And then you fake laugh. But you're going down a harder hitting route and being able to make humor out of it and trying to make it laugh. So what was your thoughts behind it?
As far as when it comes, what made me choose, because you asked me a couple questions. One of them was about what made me choose with mental health and the comedy, kind of incorporating that together. Well, I think it's the thing, for me, my comedy is situational. My comedy is, it's realism. I try to, if I say something, I feel like comedy is the best laughter is the best medicine.
Hmm.
You know, it makes you feel good. It makes you, you know, it brightens your day, you know, especially when you're laughing and everything else like that. So with that being said, I feel like that helps with your mental health. And I feel like when I can be able to make people smile, when I can make people laugh and everything else like that, I'm doing my job. You know, if I'm not doing well within myself, I want to be able to make sure the next person who I'm talking to is doing better than I am.
Yeah, that's definitely a good way to go about it. It's kind of like a comedy ambassador, so to speak.
Yes.
So what does 2022 hold for you, Kendra? What gigs you got planned for the future? Any collaborations that you specifically want to do?
With the next year coming up in the next few years, I'm going back to school. January 2022, I will be in at Georgia State University, another university. I will be I'm going to be on the road to receiving my PhD in child psychology. The reason being back to mental health is because a lot of our trauma roots from childhood, you know, and a problem is there's a lot of crappy adults out here, and they have not got a chance to actually, you know, remove that pain, and they haven't gone to get therapy. So if I can help that a couple of kids, and hey, I did my job.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Like going to get your PhD. I've only also got to speak to you for a little while, but I'm so chuffed and proud of you, because obviously you started off saying, well, you know, college, why am I going to college? Like, why am I going to university? It's not stimulating me. And now you flipped it round and you're finding your purpose,
Most definitely
to do that. That's absolutely brilliant. Like, congratulations.
It's one of those things where this is what I feel, right? Okay. There are some things you do need to actually go to college for. Okay. There are some things you need to go to college for. There are other things that I feel like aren't necessary, but the government tells you that you need to go to college for, you know, and I feel that I can be able to help people get to where they need to get to with my degree. I mean, I want to open up my own business, the own like actual center for children and stuff like that. And I can have the money now and go open it up, but like nobody's going to be like calling me a doctor of anything because I did not actually do what I was supposed to do, you know? So that's the thing about that.
That's brilliant. It's just hearing like the aims and the aspirations that you've got for it, not only from the comedy front, but for like yourself to develop yourself as a more well-rounded individual. Obviously, that's not meant to be in an offensive way, but just like, you know, just getting yourself sorted. That's
no, most definitely.
Or as Morty would say, Rick Morty, just get your shit together.
Exactly. Yep. Yes.
And that is brilliant, and that's what a lot of people need, that kind of attitude, and you've definitely got it in spades. So what I'm going to do, to kind of wrap things up, is ask you one question that I like to ask all my guests when we round things off, and I think this will fit right into your wheelhouse, going into child psychology and being a mental health comedian.
Okay, let's do it.
If you could give one piece of advice to anybody that's struggling with mental health issues at this moment in time, what would that piece of advice be, and why?
The piece of advice is that it's okay to not be okay. I say that because so many people will try to make you feel like something is wrong with you if you don't express your feelings. And I would also add to that, journal. Find a journal, write your stuff down. If you can't afford to get any, you know, the professional help because of how much it costs, go and journal, write it down. It's better out than in.
Yeah, definitely.
And you know, so like I said, it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to cry, especially men. Y'all are taught to be tough, but no, y'all can cry, man. It's cry. It's all right. Release it. It'll make you feel better.
It really does. It's much better than trying to do.
When's the last time you cried, Andrew? When was the last time you cried?
Not that long ago. In all honesty, I'm more of a crier than like a yell or being angry or anything like that. That's always been my release. And you always got it when you were a kid. Like, you know, stop crying, man up, get over it.
And I hate that has to happen for men. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a kick in the balls. And one of the things that I've noticed, especially lately, is that it comes from a lot of women to guys.
Of course, women are horrible sometimes. You're supposed to be out here trying to please them. I'm like, bro, this is bull crap. Please the man, help him out.
Yeah, it was one of those ones. I was in my work, and I had a particularly tough day, and I was just feeling a bit down. and one of the kind of higher ups came over and she was like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "No, I just had a bit of a rough day. I'm just like struggling a little. Just need to kind of get my head together." And her exact words were, "What is it with you, man? You're all such drama queens. You need to just man up and get over it." And I was like, "Bitch, what'd you
You
say?"
should have pimp slapped her. Like, you know how they say like you shouldn't put your hands on a woman. Like there are times where I feel like, you just give them a quick pow, let them know it came. Like, wow, she didn't even see that coming. Or call me. I'll put my hands on her.
Yeah.
Call me.
Oh, don't worry. Well, I'm definitely planning on sending her over to Georgia. Don't worry. Well, I'll definitely book that ticket. Now, it was something that I always kind of thought as well. I was like, if women can hit guys, can't the guy hit back in self-defense?
Here's the thing. No, here's the thing. This is what I believe. Nobody should put their hands on anybody. If the woman puts her hands on you, she deserves what she gets. That's how I feel about that.
No, definitely. That was another thing that you always felt like kind of in a grey area about. Like, a woman could batter you, and then men would be like, "Huh, you pussy." But if you dared like go back, they'd be like, "You beat up a girl? What, jail?" Straight away. Not that I've ever done it. I don't advocate violence in any.
I don't really care. If you have, then she more than likely deserved it. That's how I feel. But I mean, that's my feeling. That's probably why I don't have a lot of female friends. But hey, neither here nor there.
Hey, neither does my wife. And my wife's got more balls than me. She's the heart and soul and the rock of this family. Definitely. So now we're going to come to what will hopefully be Atlanta Georgia's favourite segment, Ask Andrew Anything. And this is where me, after grilling my guest for a total of 22 minutes and 50 seconds, I get to turn the tables around. And Kendra can ask me any question that she wants, and I've got to be 100% honest.
I'll give you 5. I'll give you top 5. I'll give you 5, and then
top 5 questions.
Yep, top 5 questions.
Oh, I am definitely up for this. Right, Kendra.
All right.
Top 5 questions for this mental ginger. Let's go.
What is a good ass day for you? Like the perfect day for you? Go.
Spending time with my wife and my kids, knowing that they're happy and secure, and then get to maybe do something like this, like a wee kind of creative outlet.
Got it. All right. What was your very first car and what happened to it?
My very first car was a Renault Clio. I got it from my papa. It was his car. So second hand, but it was actually in better condition than most new cars. And eventually I had to get rid of it, but there was a thing that was going in the UK at the time called the scrappage scheme, where if cars were over 10 years old, you could trade it in for a new car and you would get about £2,000 knocked off the price. So that's what I did, and I was very fortunate at the time that I did have a little bit of money. Not a nice way to get it because my granny passed away, but it meant I got to buy technically my first car, that I was getting for myself, not second hand, brand new, outright. I didn't need to worry about paying for it. So both sets of grandparents helped me out to become an independent driver, and I was always forever grateful for it. I loved my little Clio, Connie Clio, her name was.
That was the name. Okay. If you could live to be an age forever, what would it be?
A specific age, I would probably go for the age that I'm now. I'd probably go for 34 because I've finally managed to get my shit together. I'm in the best kind of mental condition that I've been in a long time. I don't give a crap about how I look anymore. I'm just like, you know what? I'm happy with who I am. I've got a wife that loves me. I've got 2 brilliant kids. My family's on an even keel. I'm relatively comfy, and my creative skills are finally back on fire. So I would stick to being 34 and just run with it.
That's it. That's squirrel. Okay.
So
all right.
3 for 3. We're 3 for 3. We're 2 more.
We're 3 for 3. What is if you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Oh man, that really is an interesting one. I think my superpower would be that I could be a Ninja Turtle.
Okay, all right, Ninja Turtle.
Covers 2 things. 1, exceptionally good at martial arts and kick-ass fighting skills. 2, they can eat as much pizza as they want, and they never seem to get fat. And they never seem to worry about pizza. Is like my number 1 food. I actually had pizza just before we came on this call. I always say
I ain't had pizza in months.
Yeah, it's what I say.
Last year,
man. I always say that having pizza is my 1 qualification to be a Ninja Turtle, so why not go the full shebang? Let's be a Ninja Turtle. I'd probably be Raphael because it would fit in with the ginger kind of fieriness.
Yeah, he was. I like Raphael. He was rude, but I liked him.
Yeah.
Last question. What is one life lesson amongst many that your grandparents taught you that you still take with you today? Just give me one.
Be nice to people. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if if they're rude to you or if they treat you bad. Always take the higher ground, but be the better person.
That's real.
And don't get me wrong, sometimes that is a pain in the ass, especially when they're just being absolute assholes. But it's something that I've always tried to do. I've always tried to rise up, be the better person, and
as you should.
And now, in particular, because I want to set a good example for my sons. I want them to be like the best versions of themselves that they can be. If it means that I've got to take the hit to do it, so be it.
That's real.
Yeah.
No, that's actually very real.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you learned that along the way and everything else like that. So I'm very proud that they taught that to you. Yeah. I'm very proud that they taught that to you.
Yeah. I always say I'm really lucky. I've got a really good family. They have their flaws like everybody else, but it's not like they're, they were never abusive. They were never ones that were like, oh, we're gonna like throw you out in the middle of the road, or if you act like a dick. But they had their moments, and I had my moments because I was a little dick. And I freely admit that. But my family were absolutely brilliant. They gave me the core morals, right and wrong. Be a good person. Don't be a dick to people. Just and live your life as best you can. And
your parents did a lot better than most people's parents. I tell you that.
Exactly. I'm really, really proud to have the parents that I've got. I know my mom and dad do listen to it, even though they're like, "Can you cut back in the swearing?" And I'm like, "Fuck you, man." but yeah, if my mom and dad are listening, and I'm pretty sure you are, mom, dad, I don't say it. Well, I do say it often enough because I'm more expressive now. But I love you both, and I'm so glad that I'm your son. But Kendra, it's been an absolute pleasure speaking with you, and you know what? I need to get you back on for like a proper, like in-depth, like conversation, and have more real talk. This has just been
bring me on like a much other time. That works. That works for me.
Well, I've loved the whole thing. Like, we've been so quick fire. We've been in sync. We've just had a good flow going. And I know that we both have to wrap it up for different reasons, quite soon. So let's get a second part going. Let's get the second coming of Kendra, if you will. And we'll get that definitely booked in. And let's just shoot the shit like most people should do.
They should. Let's do it. Definitely. Let's do it.
So until next time, my 7 faithful followers, I have been Andrew Durning. This has been the amazing Kendra Crump. Anybody that is in Georgia, check out her comedy, because from just this conversation, she is fire. Oh, is there anywhere that they can find you, like socials or that, to, as I say, sell, baby, sell?
Yes, my Instagram is the Kendra Crump Show. So the is in the KYN as in Nancy, DRACRU, M as in Mary, P's and Paul Show, SHOW, not with a money sign. Okay, y'all need to grow up from that. My YouTube is Kendra Crump. I'm like, bro, y'all too old for that. My YouTube is Kendra Crump, KYNDRA. CRUMP. Please put a space between Kendra and Crump. Okay, y'all can find me on there if you guys want to come on my, listen to me on my podcast talking a bunch of crap. The Kendra Crump Show, same as my Instagram. So I'm Kendra Crump across the world, man.
Definitely. And Kendra Crump is coming across the world. Check her out in the 800 podcasts that she has done already.
Exactly. Exactly.
So until next time, faithful followers, take care, stay safe. Bye-bye.